At the Antrim Half Coastal Marathon, this, ladies and gentlemen, was about to be the phenomenal race of the year for me. Going into this race, Mo Farah had to pull out because of an ankle injury, but was actually present on the day doing some kind of presenting work and some interviews for the television. As the gun got underway, this was a rather unpredictable race. We had some top Africans, we had Mark Scott for Great Britain, and we had a lot of good level athletes in the female and male gender categories. Going into this race, the first couple of miles were very fast, and there was also a second group which was classed as a chase pack, which actually had a female runner slotted right in the middle of around 20 men who were now trying to get a pace of around 4 minutes 58 seconds per mile. Mark Scott was managing to hold on with the lead group, with around 3 Ethiopians now putting on the pace as they approached the 5k mark. That was the main part where they wanted to try and lose as many runners as they possibly could. The man leading this race actually ruined his own race going into this, seeing as up until the 3k mark he tried everything he could to drop everyone in the lead group. Constantly pouring on the pace and injecting pace around every single corner, he was attempting to do his best to drop the 3 Ethiopians and also Mark Scott of Great Britain. But those runners he was trying to drop were way better than he was, and it was definitely a case of them holding on, staying relaxed, knowing that the real race didn't start till after 10k. With the fans lining the streets, for once we could now see true racing at its heart. This is where things got really serious, and as the other runner got dropped completely, who was initially leading the race, the real race began. Going through 5k in low 14 minutes, things were about to get serious when the 3 Ethiopians realised that they had to now drop Mark Scott. Mark Scott has had a fantastic past 2 seasons and has got stronger and stronger, faster and faster year after year. Going into this race, he was looking for a solid personal best. As they now approached the 10k mark, they were still on pace for a sub 60 half marathon. Things were looking extremely fast and Mark was looking very relaxed. They went through the 10k mark in the high 28 minutes range and were still looking rather comfortable and definitely within their capabilities. The 3 Ethiopians, also including Yima, was now one of the athletes to take the lead alongside his teammate. Both being Nike competitors, these athletes were now minutes from the finish line. Fast forward to the 57th minute. Mark Scott was still holding on and being dragged around by these world-class athletes for a phenomenal time. However, these 3 knew that only one person could win the first prize pot, so they began kicking for dear life. This is when Yima reached clear top speed around one of the bends, which I've never seen a kick this hard or such a close finish before in a half marathon. Yima now had the lead and was driving his arms for home. The finish line was in sight and he could sense it. He was only half a second away and he had just held off all the other competitors, but by far that was an extremely close finish. Ladies and gentlemen, the real attention needs to be brought to the female race. I couldn't even believe my eyes the whole time I was focusing on the male race. Meanwhile, this Ethiopian absolute goddess had just gone and run, yes, a world record. At the least expected event you would ever expect a runner to break it on, an Antrim coastal half marathon where there really was not known for very high standard, this young lady was just on the minutes before she was about to break the half marathon world record, following in some of the elite men. Crossing the line in 63 minutes 40 seconds, this lady had just broken the female world record. An emotional finish for her, realising she had just had the biggest breakthrough I personally have ever witnessed in running ever. It seems like the women's half marathon world record is being broken 3, even 4 times every year now. This is phenomenal, and how fast can these women get over the half marathon distance is my real question I would like to ask you guys right now. You see, the half marathon distance is absolutely deadly. It is really something that is difficult to master. It isn't like a track race where you train repetitions or intervals. It is a lot different. It is more similar to the marathon road event in the sense that if you go out too hard, you're finished. You might as well stop running, because if you go too hard, you'll probably end up finishing 10, even 15 minutes slower than your full potential could be. This is where pacing comes into play massively, and as we saw in that race earlier on, one of the African runners attempted to try and drop everybody in the first 3 kilometers and ended up ruining his entire race. Half marathons are extremely dangerous. When it comes to pacing, athletes know one slight negative split or one slight too fast mile split can ruin the entire 13.1 mile race. This is why this female world record is so impressive. Not only did she do it surrounded by 50 odd professional running males, she also wasn't phased at all. She ended up beating pretty much all of that group, finishing within the top 15 of the entire race. This, my friends, is phenomenal, and this woman has just launched herself into popularity and stardom in her own country. What more of a race to do it in than an unsuspecting coastal marathon in the UK? This is something no one even expected, and going into this race we actually expected Mo Farah to be racing. The fact that he didn't race was enough of a shock and a disappointment, but granted he did have an ankle injury. But then on top of this, to have a world record run is a bit mind-blowing. The half marathon has seen many world records done over that distance in the past 3 years alone. The question is, how much faster can we really get? With males now pushing the 57-minute barrier and females going into the 63s and 64-minute barrier, we really have no idea just when we will hit that limit. For example, Mo Farah in his build up right now will have to do some half marathons to build back up and get more contemporary and different stamina in order to run the marathon distance. This allows Mo Farah to be able to gain more stamina and muscle memory in order to run fast marathons while also pacing them properly. There has been many marathons that Mo Farah has run, for example the London Marathon 2018, where pacing has been a big problem for him. You see, road races can also turn out like track races in the sense that they become extremely tactical. Take for instance the World Half Marathon Championships in Cardiff, where Geoffrey Camworth ended up face planting in the first few steps, then ran a 4:22 mile for his first mile, caught back up with the leaders, and then won the race. I couldn't believe my eyes. That once again is a phenomenal race that I will always remember. Anything can happen, and Mo Farah knows this, so he must prepare and do everything he can to be ready for whatever is thrown at him, because he's coming back, and he is going to make a return. I cannot wait. Please like this video right now to support the channel and all the hard work I put into these videos, and why not subscribe if you're new for daily running content from myself, Brandon, the host commentator on this channel. I hope you guys are doing great running and your training is going well, and I'll see you in the next one.